Just a good old smash, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble on social media since before its existence. Straightening facts, smacking down hacks.
All right, everybody, it's time to do the 1 year and counting pandemic special. So we're so stoked that it's time to do the special, and it's not going to stink at all. It's going to be just fantastic. We're going to celebrate 1 year of a pandemic, and congratulations on surviving 1 year of a pandemic. Now all we have to do is just get vaccinated, lock down, and wear masks, and we'll be safe forever and ever 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 and ever. And that's as long as we'll have to lock down and wear masks for. So we'll just make sure you get 2 or possibly 6 shots. And no, just kidding, folks. Not 6 shots, just 1 or 2, depending on which vaccine it is that you must get as soon as possible. Then make sure you continue to mask and lock down for just only forever and ever and ever and ever, and then we'll be safe forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Which brings me to my Twitter page, which you probably don't follow because only 127 people do. It may be completely invisible. I have, frankly, no idea. Because nowadays we wonder what can and can't be seen on social media. So in any case, here is my Twitter page, and thanks to everybody who's actually left comments or knows that it exists. But in any case, I'm going to go to some Twitter posts here because, again, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. So far, you've done a fine job. You've masked, you've locked down, and you've masked again. You've masked and then you've masked, and when you were done, you made sure that you masked. So congratulations on that, folks. Oh, by the way, have you heard Gretchen Whitmer may be facing criminal charges because of the deaths of people in nursing homes, not because she diddled the staff? So I don't know if you're aware of that. Some of you may be celebratory. Shout out to Mary Wright, one of our patrons, who is probably thrilled that Governor Whitmer may be facing criminal charges because of getting people killed in nursing homes. Yes. I'm neutral on the subject. However, I would note that in Pennsylvania had similar policies to the policies in places like New York and Michigan. So if you weren't aware. And on a related note, shout out to Tom Wolfe. As it looks like 2021 has looked up a little bit in some ways here. So yeah, celebrate good pandemics. Best pandemic I ever saw. So I've never experienced a pandemic nearly as delightful as this one. So this pandemic has been, okay, cheers. Cheers to all of our viewers. There you go. Yeah, well done. You've survived a global pandemic so far. Ah, yes. The sweet taste of victory. So yeah, just make sure that you continue to lock down and wear masks and get vaccinated forever and ever, and you'll be perfectly safe then. Only you won't be. You'll be safe, except for from other things that will become less safe because of you giving up one thing to get something else, right? So what'll happen is you'll mask up and lock down, and then you'll decide to stop buying kitty litter or something like that because you didn't want to go to the grocery. By the way, I've discovered that I have Euro and UK vocal tics because of having friends in so many places. It causes me to speak the English language in a manner not consistent with Americans. I don't know what does that make my accent? I have a weird accent. We got to start doing a call-in show, by the way. Shout out to Kimberly as well. And by the way, if you're viewing, leave us a comment. Let us know if there's an interesting news story that you'd like covered. And let me get back to my Twitter feed here to see what it is we were talking about. By the way, have you seen our latest live stream previous to this one? It was entitled Going Live for Absolutely No Reason Whatsoever, or Is There a Reason? It was the most shadow banned video that we'd ever produced. So this video was so shadow banned we couldn't find it on our own playlist. Yeah, I'm sure it was just a coincidence. So it didn't appear on our playlists, and then when I asked others to look it up, I noticed that they could not see the video either, so we put it up as a community post, an additional manual share, which guess what? Didn't show up in that user's account, and that user only has about 3 subscriptions. And then we did another community post, and we put it all over social media. I think it got up to like 50 views as a result of additional effort. So it was officially the most shadow banned video that we ever saw, I think, as we had to use different accounts. In other words, I couldn't even find the URL to it without going into studio.youtube.com. So there's just one of the examples of what we call ephemeral experiences. Ephemeral experiences affecting what people see and don't see on social media. It's ephemeral to everybody who isn't a programmer. However, those of us who are programmers, we notice these intentional bugs, glitches, and errors immediately. By the way, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. So far. Again, the WHO, maybe I didn't say this on this video, the WHO declared in 2020 COVID-19 to be a global pandemic. So it was yesterday, 366 days ago. And that anniversary brought me to smAsho.com/forum because we created an incredibly comprehensive and indeed correctly predicted practically all aspects of the pandemic. We started covering it on January 23rd, 2020 is when we put the first post up there. And here, I'll show you what it looks like. If you head to smAsho.com/forum, you'll see this. You can link to it from the homepage, smashamash.org. Will redirect you to smashamash.com. And there you'll find the forum. If you go to the homepage of the forum, we've stickied the coronavirus for the anniversary pandemic celebration, because now that we're 1 year in, let's keep it going forever and ever 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 and ever. And we can talk to Dr. Fauci every day. Oh yeah. Maybe we could have Dr. Fauci provide a holographic projection so we can see a full 3D image of Dr. Fauci dancing on our desk, telling us to wear 2, 3, or possibly 14 masks. We're not sure. We're not sure how many masks, but the more masks and the more lockdowns that we have, the healthier and safer everybody will be. And I'm sure all of the statistics back this up. And viewers, if you have any statistics like this, by all means, let us know in the comments, and so that we want to show everybody how much safer that they've been as a result of masks and lockdowns. You know, since everybody is so safe as a result of that, we just want to congratulate everybody, and we'd like to show statistics about that. So here's where the Johns Hopkins data was last year on February 13th. And so this is actually, this is page 4 of our coronavirus thread. And what we did here is we painstakingly copied and pasted articles in their entirety, along with links to the source. So we cited all the sources, but more importantly, we copy-pasted the articles directly in, so that if they were in the future altered or scrubbed entirely from the internet, they would still be there. So anyway, there's the WHO situation report from the day after the declaration of the pandemic. And we made sure that we did this because we wanted a record of a lot of different news sources. We used Reuters, we used all kinds of reputable, end quote, news sources. So there, is that death counts? Confirmed cases. So at that time, China had 46,000 confirmed cases. And there's the rest of the list. For example, Sri Lanka only had 1 confirmed case. And so, yeah, we painstakingly put this together. Now, this is the most read forum thread that we have on the forum. And we just wanted to demonstrate how to document news stories. And you'll also find commentary in here. So not all the posts are from news articles, but the ones that are typically always copy-pasted directly into the body of the forum thread and then linked with a source at the bottom. So at the bottom of this, let me speed up the scroll a little bit. At the bottom of this, you can see Reuters graphics. So that was obviously a Reuters article. And then on the 15th, oh, look, we missed a day there. So the February 14th, there was no post, I think. Was that from the 14th? Oh, no, we're on the 15th already. Okay. I think there was no post from the 14th. Nope, there was. All right. So anyway. And we are in the wrong month here. We're talking February. Duh. All right. So there's March 4th. There we go. There's March 13th. So March 13th. And again, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. So far, it's time for celebration. Celebrate good lockdowns and masks. Look, they're already talking about RNA vaccines. Cambridge-based biotech company Moderna announced that it had an experimental vaccine ready to test. The speedy turnaround is due to the unique advantages of RNA vaccines, says Daniel Anderson, an MIT professor of chemical engineering, who also works on such vaccines, though not specifically for coronavirus. A key advantage of messenger RNA is the speed which you can identify a new sequence and use it to come up with a new vaccine, Anderson says. Traditional vaccines consist of an injected form of a viral protein that induces an immune response. However, these vaccines take a long time to manufacture, and for some diseases they are too risky vaccines that consist of messenger RNA are an appealing alternative because they induce host cells to produce many copies of the proteins they encode, provoking a stronger immune response than proteins delivered on their own. So yeah, we were reporting on that already back on a year ago. So leave us a comment if you found out what an mRNA vaccine was like 2 weeks ago. And leave us a comment if you just learned how to wash your hands correctly in February of 2020. So that was some stuff that was going on in February, and now March again. Congratulations on surviving a global pandemic so far. You're only 366 days in, folks, and you're doing just fine, aren't you? And don't worry, because you're going to be safe forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, because you're just going to lock down forever and ever and ever, and then you'll be safe forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. All right, I'll stop. And thanks for leaving comments, smAsho staff and Jim G. And Mark Bordage, who says, not safe yet. Jim G says, you and Dan rock, Smash staff, thanks. And thanks for leaving comments. So here's another article from 1 year ago today. A special report from Italy and South Korea. Virus outbreaks reveal disparity in deaths and tactics. Now, I remember when this happened because this was a serious story, because the world was saying the Western world won't tolerate lockdowns because Italy instituted lockdowns. And people in America and the UK and all across Western Europe said, oh, that's just crazy, those crazy Italians. People in the Western world won't tolerate lockdowns. That would destroy their economies and shatter their societies. So that was a story. That was a story. And what do you think? Did the West tolerate lockdowns? If your governor would have told you to walk the plank, would you have walked the plank? That's the real question. That's what I'm wondering. So Italy and South Korea, more than 5,000 miles apart, but several similarities when it comes to coronavirus. Maybe because it's infecting humans and hardly killing anybody. Folks, what do you think the statistical relevance of a virus where the median age of death is the same as the median age of death without the virus? Does that make it a statistically relevant virus, folks? If the average age of death is the same age as the average age of death with the virus, would that be a statistically relevant virus? Just asking you a question, folks. You know, I wouldn't want to make any conclusions there or anything. Just asking you questions because we appreciate critical thought. Now, no matter how terrifying the concept of critical thought may be, occasionally you have to ask yourself questions. Because in the realm of science, what often happens is this. What happens in science very often is that we see nature doing thing A, and we say, how can it be doing thing A? And when we start to explore how nature may be doing phenomenon A, oftentimes what happens is we have to figure out what phenomenon B, C, and D are in order to figure out what phenomenon A is in the first place, and we end up with many more questions. We end up without questions to the original question. We end up without answers to the original question asked, and we end up with additional questions. And questions and answers to questions that are not even asked. So all sorts of different things happen when we try to figure out what's going on in science. And so you have to know which questions to ask, as ignorance is the root of all knowledge. So if you don't know which questions to ask, good luck coming up with the right answers. But that is an interesting question that I would have. And again, you may notice smashomash.com/forum has 0 posts between July of 2020 and today, because, well, the last time the coronavirus thread on our forum was updated was just earlier today. And I won't tell you what that is, of course, because we want you to go to the forum. Feel free to contribute, by the way. It's still free, although we will have a paywall at smashomash.com eventually. And yes, patrons, you should know about this. Patrons, we will eventually have a paywall at smashomash.com, and you will all need to, well, we'll suspend our Patreon entirely. We'll get rid of Patreon entirely at that point. We'll stop having a Patreon account, period, because there's no real need for a middleman. You could use e-commerce for it. So in any case, let's go back to forums, and thanks for leaving comments. Jim G says, soon the mask will become zombies with no thoughts left. Well, already, actually. Good morning, Frequenessa. And Jim G says, a moronic friend said, only 1 in 10 people have reactions. I may get the shot. Only 1 in 10? By the way, folks, I don't think the adverse reactions to any of the vaccines are 10%. Let's hope not. Oh, geez. It's so safe that only 1 in 10 people have an adverse reaction. That's great. Okay. All right. So yeah, maybe we should go. Should we go watch a See the Pattern video? Leave us a comment if you want to go watch a See the Pattern video, because there's some hilarity over there for sure. All right. So Italy at its breaking point, and I remember this story very well. Last year, the mayor of Castiglione, Castiglione d'Adda, a town of 5,000 people in Lombardy's red zone, which was the first to be locked down. So there's the news story about the first lockdown in Castiglione d'Adda. Dada, can I go out to the restaurant tonight? Only if you're masked up, and only if it's at 20% capacity, and only if Tom Wolfe has his you-know-what in your you-know-what. Teabag in your teacup is what I meant. Nothing vulgar, of course. All right, so that was where the first lockdown occurred, if you're wondering. Doctors and nurses are at the limit, said a nurse from the hospital. If you have to manage people under artificial respiration, you have to be watching them constantly, because their likelihood of death has gone up incredibly dramatically by having them on a respirator. One of the most dangerous things you could possibly do, because it, well, first of all, it can explode your lungs, but it can also cause you to go into a permanent medical coma, because you have to be under general anesthesia on a respirator. You can't be conscious, in other words. So it's very dangerous to keep people under general anesthesia for an extended period of time. Basically, you have to be in an ICU. So anyway, yeah, there was a big issue about respirators. It wasn't known that hyperbaric chambers were a better thing than respirators at the time, and lots of people were dying on respirators. So all sorts of issues happened as the sword of Damocles hung above everybody's head, and they were like, OMG, WTF. And so COVID, do you have any you got anything to say there, COVID? COVID is very shy. So I'm just gonna take my coffee spoon here, and I'm just gonna thanks, COVID. COVID, everybody. Give a round of applause for COVID. COVID, you'll live on in our hearts and minds. No, like literally. You'll live on in our hearts, minds, and bloodstreams. Please leave a comment if you're very scared of COVID. Please leave a comment if you've checked out smashomash.com/forum. Did you create a topic thread? So this one's 34 pages long, by the way. And for you just tuning in or whatever, or not aware, we painstakingly copy-pasted all of this information so that if articles changed their story or retracted the articles entirely, we would still have the originals. I really don't want her to go to school, he said to his wife just 5 minutes before he and Maggie were set to walk out the door. Christine agreed, and Maggie stayed home. Her parents emphasized that this was not a time for extra play dates or solo field trips. But what happens next? That's what parents everywhere are wondering. Did they think that they'd be locked down for a year? Do you have kids that haven't been in school for a solid year? Yowzers. Leave us a comment. Let us know. And we're actually on tomorrow's now. March 14th. Emergency toilet paper. Perhaps we'll talk more about that at a later time, as we don't want to spend too much time celebrating the pandemic because we've got champagne to pop, and we don't want to do that during the YouTube video. Because that's my fingers are getting cut off. What's going on here? All right, I got him anyway. I got him. All right. But I digress. What about the year of accountability, folks? Do you notice any accountability happening? Is there accountability occurring? Now, of course, we can't all diddle staff. I know there are issues with diddling staff. One thing we're seeing some bandwidth issues. I think we're good. One thing you want to do, folks, is refrain from diddling staff. Diddling staff is bad. If staff wants to diddle you, do it outside of work. And maybe, I don't know, don't let anybody find out about it. Maybe don't do it in places like public gatherings and grab your staff by the face or other body parts. Grab it by the face. See what I did there? Ah, yes. So what else do we have to talk about? Well, I don't know. Zero hedge articles. I know I saw an article someplace about Gretchen Whitmer possibly facing criminal charges. Do you think Governor Cuomo, hey, Governor, that's an awful nice freedom you got there. Be a shame if it got robbed. Hey, Governor, that's an awful nice hands for diddling you got there. Be a shame if they were behind bars, Now, apparently causing the deaths of tens of thousands of humans is not as bad as diddling staff, but some of our governors in the U.S. are good enough to do both. So, slow claps for Governor Cuomo. Hey, Governor, that's an awful nice state you got there. Be a shame if it was governed by Governor Cuomo, Now that I've gotten that out of my system. Did you see the interview with Fauci last night? With some Mexican comic, who seems great, by the way. It was a great interview. I know it'll be all over the newswire. Apparently, I think Fauci might have flip-flopped on everything that he was asked, as he was asked what would you say? He was asked many sort of non-hostile questions, but then they were kind of, it was almost like somebody fed him truth serum again. Fauci, something went wrong, and Fauci told the truth. So it was weird, man. I don't know what's going on. As Fauci has admitted to essentially lying, Fauci has admitted to lying at least twice. First about masks, as he told people to wear masks in order to conserve N95 masks for healthcare workers. So he lied about the effectiveness of masks, as I guess he always thought masks were effective, but he claimed last March that they weren't, so that people wouldn't. Last March, Fauci claimed they weren't, so that people wouldn't purchase all of the masks and cause a shortage for healthcare workers. So that was the first fraud, which is an intentional misrepresentation of material facts. And the second fraud was the one about herd immunity, when he said, "When I heard only 60% of Americans would take a vaccine, I said we need 70 to 75% vaccination rate to reach herd immunity. But then when I heard 75% would take the vaccine, I bumped that up 10% to 80-85. Another misrepresentation of material facts. Oh, we're having bandwidth issues again. Are we getting cut off? So he moved up herd immunity requirements through vaccination 10% because of different poll results that he heard. So what do you think about that? Leave us a comment about Fauci's 2 known frauds, where he intentionally misrepresented facts about both the effectiveness of masks as well as herd immunity requirements. And let us know if you're seeing dropped frames here. Let us know if the audio is still intact, as we're not really showing any video here. And again, thanks for leaving comments, Keebs and Jim and Mike and Frequenessa. Mr. Keebler wants to know how the hyperbole chamber works. Here's how the hyperbole chamber works. I think up hyperbolic things to say, and then I say them. Here at the Smash News Network. Where would Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf? Because Pennsylvania had similar nursing home policies to what we saw happening in New York. So, and does anybody have any news about the confirmation of Dr. Rachel Levine? Some of you may be familiar with Dr. Rachel Levine now that Dr. Levine has been on national news. And for those of you not aware of who Dr. Rachel Levine is, it's former NCAA linebacker Richard Levine, now Rachel Levine, is the former physician general of the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's physician general. So kind of like the Surgeon General of the U.S., but on a state scale for the governor. So that person, Dr. Rachel Levine, was making healthcare decisions for all of us in Pennsylvania, requiring things like masks and lockdowns. Well, that person, Dr. Levine, has been selected by Joe Biden to be the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health. So let us know what you think about that in the comment section. Dr. Levine, yes. Soon, Dr. Levine will be able to make healthcare decisions for all Americans. So what an upgrade there. But we'll see if there's accountability for he who appointed her, Governor Tom Wolf. Did I use a pronoun? I think I used a pronoun. I apologize. Anyway, Dr. Levine was appointed by Tom Wolf. And fun fact, Dr. Levine pulled Dr. Levine's mother out of a nursing home and put her in a hotel at the same time that the catastrophic nursing home policies were put into effect. So we've got, I guess, at least 3 states that had this insane policy of forcing nursing homes to take people who were confirmed COVID cases. We've got New York, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Would you like to add your state to our list? But once again, congratulations. Doing a fine job with the pandemic, mankind. A fine job. So celebrate good pandemics. This is my favorite pandemic that I've ever had. So raise your coffee in celebration, or whatever you've got, whatever part of the world you're in. Cheers. It's the best pandemic that I've ever experienced. Now, I'm nearly 45, which is a good age in many ways. But in any case, I've never experienced a pandemic before, and you probably haven't either. You'd have to be over 100 years old. Although there are some folks who are on pandemic number 2, and I know there are some interesting stories about at least a couple people who, I know there was some grandma who was drinking beer in the hospital after beating COVID. So yeah, leave us a comment if you have natural immunity and you'd like to go tell everybody that you had COVID and you recovered via your own immune system. And we're going to put your comments back on the screen here in a minute. I just want to find another interesting story to put up here from Zero Hedge before I do so. So in the meantime, celebrate good pandemics. Make sure you lock down and get completely drunk all day long until you nearly die from overconsumption of alcohol. Do not get any exercise. Do not go out and do anything physical because you may breathe on somebody. The wind or maybe the jet stream could carry your breath into some old lady's air intake on her oil burner and suck viruses in and kill her off. So make sure you don't go outside, because what we got to do, folks, is stay locked down and masked forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And then everybody will be safe, except for being safe from things that they aren't safe from when they're locked down, which include a different list of things, as some people are less safe at home than they are at work. Right? Is that not true? That is absolutely true. If you work in a secure building where you have to use a security pass to get in, and it has security guards down at the ground floor and stuff like that, cameras everywhere, you're in a more secure location than you are at home in most cases. Please leave us a comment if you feel more relaxed at work than you do at your own home. Scientists propose a lunar ark to store 6.7 million sperm samples as global insurance policy. What? A lunar ark? It's going to go on the moon? Why would we do that? Oh. It's for the global seed vault. We're going to start putting sperm in there. Okay. A team of researchers from University of Arizona, led by Yakan Tanga, proposed building a massive ark on the moon as a modern global insurance policy against natural disasters, socioeconomic chaos, asteroids, and the threat of nuclear war. Let's put a sperm bank on the moon, folks. What do you think? Are you going to keep paying taxes? Let's put a sperm bank on the moon, folks. It sounds like a great idea. That sounds well done. What's this guy's name again? Jakan Tonga. Jakan Tonga. Congratulations. Let's see if we can get some information about Jakan Tonga. Here's his lunar pits and lava tubes for a modern ark. Why? Oh, geez. All right, here's a clip. Humanity has the responsibility to protect the diversity of life. Svalbard Doomsday Seed Bank, one step in the right direction. Svalbard Seed Bank can be in danger of earthly cataclysms, especially rising ocean from climate change. So, we need a sperm bank on the moon.
And thus we need a modern ark that is safe and away from all the possible cataclysms.
So we need a modern ark that's safe and away from all Earth's possible cataclysms. What do you think about that, folks? Does that make you want to earn more so you can pay more taxes? Make sure you earn more so you can pay more taxes, because this is going to be the best seed bank ever. We're going to inseminate the moon, folks. We are going to fill those lava tubes with more sperm than you could possibly imagine. Those lava tubes are going to just be oozing with crystallized human semen. What a great idea. Yep, we need it on the moon. We can't just, even if sea levels were going to rise, we can't just put another seed bank at a higher altitude. No, we need lunar altitude. What a great idea. Thanks, guy whose name I don't want to try to pronounce again. And thanks for leaving comments, everybody. And welcome to the year of accountability. Let's talk some more accountability by pressing play on this hilarious video again to hear more about the need for a modern ark. Because before New York looks like this, we have to send a bunch of sperm to the moon. Because this is going to require you to move to the moon in order to get inseminated. We're going to have just simple, basic, everyday moon flights in order to use the sperm in the sperm bank on the moon. That's what's going to happen.
For this reason, we want to develop a secure modern ark that can house all the endangered species of the Earth and avoid any earthly cataclysm.
Oh, so we need sperm and egg from everything. He's talking about a legit modern ark here. We need sperm and egg from everything, frozen, so that we can repopulate the planet because of sea level rise. Because all right, I'm not going to continue on with this. This is a little bit too ridiculous to talk about any longer. There you go. Here's his 5th grade drawing of a modern lunar ark. Frankly, an idiotic idea. A fully idiotic idea. Do we need a lunar base? Probably not, but if we did, somehow I don't think it would be a particularly high priority to fill it with sperm. That would be pretty low on the priority list, folks. What do you have to say? What do you think about H.R. 1? And what do you think about the government deciding what you can and cannot do after you've been fully vaccinated? What do you think about that? Can Joe Biden tell you what you can and cannot do after you've been fully vaccinated, much less before you've been fully vaccinated or at any time ever? And what is HR1? Does anybody even know? I don't even know. I don't pay attention to this stuff very much because it's completely irrelevant. By the way, make sure you share the video on your social media. If you're not watching it now, you might not be watching it ever. We'll probably have to go into YouTube Studio to find the URL to find our own video once again. Mr. Keebler, even if the moon was made of green cheese, would it still be a smart idea to build a spacecraft out of Ritz crackers and then go land on the moon with your Ritz cracker-based lunar lander? I don't think it would be. I think it would be a bad idea. Is the moon made of green cheese? Leave us a comment. Let us know if you think some interaction, perhaps between Birkeland currents and Nibiru, have caused the moon to transmorphify into a green cheese satellite. And also let us know if you think green cheese goes well with green eggs and ham. Oh, speaking of which, I've got a racist book. It's true, folks. It's true. Yes. One of the discontinued Dr. Seuss books is On Beyond Zebra. And I've got it somewhere. We've taken it off the coffee table because we don't want to offend any people of color who may come over as a guest. As the dangers of, and thank you very much, COVID, for allowing us to lock down and wear masks forever and ever and ever and ever and see ya. Jeez. When are we going to have over-the-counter antibody tests that you can purchase with cash while wearing a disguise? By the way, are you familiar with HIPAA? Are you an American? Do you not know what HIPAA is? Well, HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. It has to do with when you must divulge health information. And to make a long story short, you don't need to divulge health information, except for things like insurance claims, why you are out of work for more than a certain period of time, to doctors and nurses and so on, and other people administering your health care. That's really the extent. And really, even in those cases, you're not technically required to divulge any health information. You can withhold all health information if you want to. It's yours to do with as you like. So if anybody tells you that you must divulge health information, such as if you cannot wear masks because of a health condition, somebody may request that you divulge what the health condition is, and you're not really required to do that. They should know better, but in any case, a person can, somebody controlling a store, the manager of a store, for example, can throw you out of the store because they don't like the color of your tie. So anyway, I don't want to get in the weeds when it comes to this nonsense. I just want to stay locked down and masked forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, so that we're all so safe. Are you safe yet? Have you seen our line of Are You Safe Yet masks? I'll bet you haven't. If you head to our homepage, you can find a link to it. There are actually 3 merch shops there. And there's a certain sarcastic theme going on right now. While we congratulate everybody on surviving a global pandemic so far. So if you head to the homepage, the official website, smashomash.com, of the Smash News Network, least busted name in news, one of the links there is the SMASho store. So you see that link right there? That's the SMASho store. And it is our first merch shop. So the first piece of merch that we ever made was this, the Smasher Price My First Pandemic shirt. Thanks to everybody that picked up one of those, or multiple ones of those. It features a small infantile child attempting to put a mask on the entire planet, and it's an homage to the pathetic and infantile response by mankind to the COVID-19. But here's our Are You Safe Yet mask. So we've also included a mask product. And let me put your comments back on the screen again here before we close things out. It's about that time. Actually, let's do a bonus segment here, as we've been doing comedy today. So I'm going to do some additional comedy because this is hilarious. And by the way, don't forget to press like and subscribe if you're viewing the videos on YouTube. And here's another YouTube channel that we'd like to feature. And now Gareth of See the Pattern has actually been on our channel. We did like an hour-long interview with Gareth. And Gareth Samuel, he's been recently endorsed by the Thunderbolts Project, one of the leading proponents of the electric universe idea. So check it out. Here's this channel called See the Pattern. He's now approaching 10,000 subscribers. And his latest videos are about electrons in dark mode. Oh, it's so scary. Dark mode electrons. Because everything is a Birkeland current. But if you ask Gareth where the electrons come from, his response will be, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You don't read, and the depths that you sink are shockingly deep. So I don't want to talk to you anymore about where the electrons come from. You act as if you don't even understand Don Scott's electric star model. It's like, no, I understand it. The problem with Gareth is that he doesn't understand the theories that he thinks he's debunking, or the ones that he thinks he's propping up. So here's one of the hilarious videos where he features Don Scott and Wal Thornhill. And this is one of my favorites.
In the final part of this discussion,
I think this is the one that has the strawberry quick images. So let me see if I can just find this, as it is hilarious. Don Scott is discussing his electric star model. And then you've got this three-way. Yeah, a three-way between Gareth and Wal Thornhill and Don Scott, and it is hilarious. So let me just find a good clip here. I want to get to the part where Don Scott is talking about his rotating ball of non-existent plasma model. And yes, I know, the sun is a rotating sphere of plasma. But this is just hilarious. I'm gonna play a clip of this. I don't know if I'll be able to find the clip that I wanted, but here, Wal Thornhill must be talking here. Let's play a clip of this.
What's circuiting the Birkeland current that's feeding that star, which is why the thing lights up as if it's almost equivalent to the light of the entire galaxy.
Anyway, go have a watch on this. You may have a laugh. I may have to feature one of these videos in a future segment because it's hilarious. And if you're wondering if I think stars are electric, I think that's a hilarious concept too. Absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, so shout out to Gareth, who hasn't spoken to me since I asked him where the electrons come from. So they can't explain where the electrons come from. There is only one plausible theory of what stars are made of. Regarding where the electrons come from, here it is. I think this is the one. The sun, fast and slow. Oh, geez, there were so many of these. These conversations with Don Scott and Wal Thornhill are the most hilarious. as far as I remember. There's a particularly hilarious moment here where he's describing the rotating plasma inside the rotating plasma, which has got rotating plasma that rotates the plasma. Yes, it's plasma, plasma, plasma. Oh, I have to find the strawberry quick clip. It is the best. I think I found it. All right, bear with me just a minute. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. All right, here's here it is. So I'm going to play a little clip, and then I'm going to find the exact spot that I'm talking about here.
Oh, so it's a tremendously dense, tremendous high number of ions that do this, but they don't have to get set to a high voltage to get over the top of the dam. They just come roaring out at about half the speed of the ones that do get accelerated. But
all right, this is not what I was talking about. He's got some great high-res images of the sun here, by the way. He's just weirdly floating up here like some kind of a disembodied bust. He's a bust. He is the bustiest electric universe proponent who doesn't understand the electric universe or regular everyday astronomy and cosmology. It's Gareth Samuel, yes, one of the most hilarious channels on YouTube. And you may have seen his videos about gravitational lensing and about how everything in the solar system is expanding because flattened maps of their geography flipped around and altered in GIMP must be an indication that they're expanding. So what he's describing here, he's describing the way that stars allegedly form because of laboratory plasma experiments, which are nothing at all like what we see in space, except for what's happening in a tiny portion of either the sun's atmosphere or on the surface, and does not explain the phenomenon at all. This must be the wrong video too. There's at least, we see at least 3 of these videos here, which are 3-ways. Yeah, hot 3-ways between Don Scott, Wal Thornhill, and Gareth Samuel of See the Pattern. Again, some hilarious videos here about expanding planets and moons, as well as gravitational lensing. So just hilarious. Go watch some, especially if you understand astronomy and cosmology. You will laugh, and then you'll laugh again. And let me put your comments back on the screen here because it's about time to close out. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. You may be able to contribute to the videos if you enjoy watching the videos. Twitter is a good place to follow us on social media if you have social media, because some stories that we cover later get covered earlier here on Twitter. So we also linked to the smashomash.com/forum directly on the Twitter page, twitter.com/smashomash. You can find all of that stuff there. And yeah, let's see, what else is there to talk about? I think that's about it. And we're just approaching the 1 hour mark, so it's a perfect time to close out. Thanks everybody for leaving comments. We'll talk to you soon. Possibly another video coming out today, as there are some geomagnetic issues coming. If you haven't checked out our daily space weather videos, this is in the news and politics subject matter. So the daily space weather videos are in the science and technology realm. You may see different things algorithmically popping up as a result of that. Who knows? Who really has any idea? But in any case, thanks again for tuning in, folks. Here is our closing theme. We are out. And I need to do more things. And we'll see you next time here at the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news.
Just a good old smash. Never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw. Been in trouble on social media since before its existence. Straightening the facts. someday our viewers might get me, but Big Tech never will. Making my way the only way I know how. That's just a little bit more than Big Tech will allow. Just a good old smash. Wouldn't change if I could. Fighting the nonsense, it's a neo-renaissance in the